In boxing, there are champions, and then there are forces of nature. Over the past decade, one name has come to redefine the meaning of domination across multiple weight classes: Naoya Inoue. Behind the modest smile and calm demeanor lies a fighter whose brutal efficiency and chilling precision have sent shockwaves through the sport. From the moment he turned professional, Inoue's potential was unmistakable. Yet it was during a defining run through the World Boxing Super Series, and beyond that the world began to understand that this quiet warrior from Japan was not just another talented fighter. He was a once-in-a-generation phenomenon. His story is not merely one of winning, it is a chronicle of surgical annihilation, of grudges avenged and doubters silenced. The night was crisp and electric in October 2018 when Naoya Inoue stepped into the ring for the quarterfinals of the prestigious World Boxing Super Series. Across from him stood Juan Carlos Payano, a Dominican southpaw who carried with him an impressive resume. Payano was a seasoned competitor, known for his defensive skills and grit. Few expected anything other than a drawn-out war between two elite fighters. As the opening bell rang, Payano came forward aggressively, eager to test the Japanese star. He believed, like many before him, that experience could tame the storm that Inoue promised to bring. For a few fleeting moments, it appeared he might be right. Then came the sudden end. Within seconds, Inoue unleashed a perfectly timed combination. His left hand measured the distance, his right came crashing down with pinpoint accuracy. Payano's legs betrayed him instantly, and he collapsed to the canvas in a heap. The referee's count was a formality. The entire arena sat in stunned silence before erupting in disbelief. In a matter of moments, what had been billed as a grueling contest turned into a massacre. Inoue had not just won, he had sent a message that resonated throughout the boxing world. He became the first man ever to stop Payano inside the distance, and the ferocity of the knockout was immortalized by Ring magazine, which awarded it their Knockout of the Year. For Inoue, it was another step in a journey that was becoming less about collecting belts and more about building a legacy of destruction. After dispatching Payano with frightening ease, Inoue's next challenge was Emmanuel Rodriguez, a talented Puerto Rican champion who many considered a true threat to Inoue's dominance. Rodriguez was unbeaten and carried with him the aura of a fighter who genuinely believed he could topple the monster. But in boxing, the drama often begins long before the fighters step into the ring. In the days leading up to the bout, a scuffle broke out between the camps. Rodriguez's coach, perhaps attempting psychological warfare, physically shoved Shingo Inoue, Naoya's father and trainer, during an official event. It was a blatant sign of disrespect that crossed a sacred boundary in the often tight-knit boxing community. Naoya Inoue did not retaliate publicly. Instead, he folded his arms and stood in stony silence, his face an unreadable mask. But inside, a storm was brewing. He would not forget the slight, and he would not forgive it. When fight night came, Inoue approached the task with cold fury disguised as professionalism. Rodriguez started the bout with good intent. He sought to impose himself, using movement and combinations to frustrate Inoue. For a brief window, it appeared that the fight might develop into the tactical war Rodriguez wanted, but Naoya Inoue is a master of adjustments. As Rodriguez circled, Inoue began to cut off the ring, trapping his prey methodically. Then came the body shots, short, brutal, and surgically placed. Each blow dug into Rodriguez's ribs, draining the air from his lungs and the resolve from his mind. Unable to escape, Rodriguez stood his ground and tried to trade blows. It was a fatal mistake. Inoue's counters came fast and heavy, culminating in a left hook that sent Rodriguez to the canvas. Rodriguez rose, but it was clear he was diminished. Inoue, sensing the end, attacked with a fearsome flurry to the body and head. Another shot to the liver crumpled Rodriguez once again. Though he managed to rise, the referee had seen enough. The bout was mercifully waved off. Inoue had made good on his silent promise. He did not merely defeat Rodriguez, he broke him both physically and spiritually. It was a victory born not just of skill, but of a deep, unwavering commitment to principle. No one disrespected his family and escaped unscathed. After dispatching Rodriguez, Inoue's reputation only grew. But so too did the challenges. Fighters from across the world wanted a shot at the monster, and among them was Mexico's Luis Neri. Neri was a complex figure in boxing, supremely talented but dogged by controversy. A former champion with a fearsome knockout rate, he had once been suspended for testing positive for banned substances. To many purists, Neri's success carried an asterisk. To Inoue, it carried a target. The build-up to their bout was laced with tension. Neither man had much to say at the final face-off, but the hatred was palpable. As the fighters stared each other down, the arena crackled with anticipation. The bell rang, and the fight exploded into action. In a shocking early twist, Neri caught Inoue with a hard shot that stunned the Japanese champion, sending a jolt of fear through the Tokyo Dome. It was rare to see Inoue hurt, and rarer still to see him dropped. But if Neri thought he had the advantage, he was mistaken. Inoue rose, anger flickering across his normally calm features. He slipped into another gear entirely, dodging Neri's follow-up attacks with matrix-like head movement. On the ropes, Inoue made himself an impossible target, rolling and countering with surgical precision. When the opportunity presented itself, Inoue struck. A savage left hook caught Neri flush and deposited him onto the canvas. This time it was Neri's turn to look up at the lights, disoriented and gasping for clarity. The fight became a brutal display of attrition. Neri tried to keep pressing, but Inoue's counters grew sharper and his body work more vicious. At one point, Neri attempted to plead with the referee, claiming a shot to the back of the head. Inoue showed no sympathy. He continued the punishment, each blow a silent rebuke for the sins of the past. By the fifth round, Neri was a man running on fumes. Another crisp combination sent him to the canvas, but the bell saved him, for the moment. The end came swiftly, in the sixth. Inoue timed a perfect right hand that smashed into Neri's jaw, folding him into the ropes like a marionette whose strings had been cut. The referee didn't bother with a count. Neri was finished. After the bout, Inoue confessed that Neri's history with performance enhancers had fueled his desire to dismantle him completely. For Inoue, boxing is about honor, and those who betray it must face consequences. Inoue's legend only grew. Opponents spoke of him with a mixture of awe and dread. Trainers devised elaborate strategies designed solely to survive against him, not to defeat him. It was in this environment that Korean fighter Jae-Jun Kim stepped up to replace an injured Sam Goodman for a January 2025 bout. Kim was brave. Bravery, however, would not be enough. When Inoue entered the arena, it was like a spirit crossing into another realm. There was no flashy pageantry, no wild gestures, just cold, silent purpose. The bell rang, and Kim attempted to establish himself with jabs and movement. Inoue walked through them as if they were no more substantial than mist. His own shots crashed into Kim's body, each one delivered with devastating efficiency. Kim tried to rally, but there was no room to breathe. Inoue's footwork, his angles, his timing, all of it was perfect. Every mistake Kim made was punished instantly. The Korean fighter realized quickly that he was trapped in a nightmare with no exit. Inoue systematically broke Kim down, battering his ribs, his arms, and his spirit. By the later rounds, Kim was little more than a stationary target. Inoue ended the fight mercifully, leaving no doubt as to who the apex predator was. Naoya Inoue's journey is still ongoing, but already it stands among the most devastating in modern boxing history. His combination of devastating power, sublime technique, and unshakable mental strength has placed him among the sport's immortals. Yet what truly sets Inoue apart is his ethos. Despite his terrifying performances, he remains humble, respectful, and focused. He checks on his fallen opponents. He refuses to engage in trash talk. His fists are violent, but his soul is composed. In a sport that often celebrates the loudest voices and the most flamboyant antics, Inoue is a reminder of a different kind of greatness, the kind that speaks softly, but carries the biggest stick. He continues to defend his titles and seek new challenges. The boxing world watches with awe and trepidation. For when Naoya Inoue enters a ring, he is not merely fighting an opponent. He is writing another brutal, beautiful chapter in the story of a monster,